Hi, welcome to the Shepherd's Rest Dog Talk. This is episode 102B.
I'm Cam and this is Julie.
Yes, this is the Haftarah discussion of this week's Torah portion, and it is found in Micah 5:6 through 6:8. However, we're going to talk about 5:1 through 6:8 because 5:1 through 6:8 tends to be more of a messianic Haftarah.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just something that I'm doing, it's something that's, and the reason you'll see the reason. Let's talk about first, who was Micah? So Micah was from a town of, I'm going to gut this, but I'm going to try, Moresheth Gath, a small Judean town in the Shephelah. Not Chaphaliah.
I would say Chaphaliah.
Not Chaphaliah if you're from Louisiana area. From the Shephelah. And when you try to look this up, there's so many different opinions on where this was. So let's just leave it at it was a Judean town in the southern kingdom.
We'll just say that's where Micah's from.
That's where Micah's from. And where is that on the map? I don't know.
Micah only
Who
knows.
That's right. He prophesied during the kings of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah.
Okay.
And he was contemporary of Isaiah and Hosea.
All right. So they were early.
Well, yes. That he actually saw the fall of the northern kingdom.
Oh, okay.
He was instrumental. This is Micah I'm talking about. He was instrumental in Hezekiah returning to the ways of the Lord.
Okay.
Okay. So he was a little bit older than Isaiah. Prophesied a little bit before him, but they were still contemporaries.
Gotcha.
A lot of their writings, they write about the same thing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. In my head, I'm thinking Micah must have been a judge, a lawyer type, because his entire, all of his prophecies act like a lawsuit. They're kind of like this.
So he
presents the case of why they're deserving of this punishment they're about to get.
It would probably be safe to say that he sat at the gate.
Probably so, yes. I don't know that for sure,
Well, that would make sense as prophesying in that manner, in which you're also watching the things that are coming in the city and going out of the city.
That's right. So he knows what's going on. He's probably praying about those things, and the Lord has given him the words to say, okay, you want to do something about it? Prophesy to these people of what's coming.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
Repentance.
Yes. All right. And I wrote on here, he was more than just a prophet of doom and gloom, because he was constantly talking about the Messianic age, the final redemption, the hope, because he saw the fall of the northern, he prophesied about the fall of the southern, and then what's after that? We really don't see Israel come back together until the Messianic age.
Right.
We're seeing bits and pieces of it right now, and 70 years after the southern kingdom went into exile, we saw those people come back, but we still have yet to see that redemption of Jacob, that redemption of Israel, that's physical and spiritual, all of the tribes into the land. Yes, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about in this week's portion.
Oh, and I didn't talk about it, but it is in the Torah portion where he sees them all in their tribes.
Yes. Oh, we got lots of things that hook
now
to
we
that
know why
Torah
they go
portion.
together.
Yes. All right, now let's jump into 5:1. We're going to start at 5:1, and here's what it says. Now you are raided, O daughter of raiders. A siege has been laid against us. They strike the judge of Israel with a rod on the cheek. Now he's about to witness the fall of the northern kingdom. And I love how he says, O daughter of raiders, because they are the offspring of the ones who came into the land and raided it in the first place. Right? So now, because their sin is full, I guess, it's time for them to be, their rebellion is bringing that crack in the door, is bringing the raiders on them. So the very thing that they did, that God allowed them to do, is about to happen to them. Now, 2 and 3, if you take 1, 2, and 3 together, 1 and 3 could just flow real well together. And then 2 is just this verse that's like stuck in there.
Oh, by the way.
But it's a clue. It's such a clue for the Messiah and for the northern kingdom, because, the northern kingdom, the one that's dispersed everywhere, is through Messiah how it's going to come in. So this is really kind of a clue of the northern kingdom, of how this restoration is going to take place. So if you read 2, it says, But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, you who are little among the clans of Judah, out of you shall come forth to me the one to become ruler in Israel, and his coming forth are of old, from everlasting. So he's from before. He's from eternity, right? From eternity to eternity.
Yeah.
He's from eternity. Therefore, he shall give them up until the time that she who is in labor has given birth, and the remnant of his brothers return to the children of Israel. So see, he's saying in verse 1, okay, the raiders are coming, you're going to be scattered, and this is going to happen until she gives birth.
Right.
And all of the brothers come back. Okay, yes, Mary gave birth to Yeshua.
Yes.
And that happened in Bethlehem.
Yes.
But this giving birth is talking about the Revelation 12 event that happens right before the revelation of Messiah.
Right.
Okay? Because that's when all the brothers are going to come. So I love how we can look at what Yeshua, how that happened with Yeshua. It was this small nothing that birthed the Messiah.
Right.
Now we can look at the whole of Israel scattered all over the world, and it's just going to be this small remnant that's going to birth Messiah again to come back.
Right.
I love how you're cranking it up.
All right.
Yes, Cam.
Yes, thank you. So as you're speaking, I'm seeing all the brothers standing for Joseph and Judah doing his thing.
Yeah.
So if we've talked about this before, which we probably have, but that happens a lot of times, we talk about it so much.
Judah kind of representing the southern kingdom.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so could the second part of that birthing and the acknowledging of literally just be the unveiling of him?
Mm-hmm.
So not having it have to go all the way back to actual birth of Messiah, but the unveiling that we see with Joseph and Judah.
Yeah, I think the unveiling, and we'll see as we move through here, the unveiling is going to be the catalyst, I guess,
Gotcha.
that is going to spur those young lions to rise up and be able to overtake their enemies. Okay? Because we're about to talk about that.
Okay.
I want to talk about a very interesting verse, 5. It says, "And this shall be peace when Assyria comes into our land, and when he treads in our palaces, we shall raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 leaders of men." Here's what's so interesting about that.
Okay.
So, after the fall of the northern kingdom, Assyria tried to come into the land. I mean, they constantly were trying to take over Judah as well. But there were 7 kings after they fell.
In Judah?
In Judah.
Okay.
So there were 7 kings after the fall of the northern kingdom when Assyria tried to come into the land. There were 7 kings that resisted him. But it says a really neat thing. It says, and 8 leaders of men. Because after the fall of the southern kingdom, after those 7 kings, then they were exiled. There has not been a king in Israel. The next king will be Yeshua. He'll be the 8th.
Ah,
see?
Yeah.
And again, it will be Assyria.
Right,
the spirit of Assyria,
right.
The spirit of Antichrist, that's going to try to overtake once again. But the 8th will be Yeshua, and he is going to be a leader of men. Because he will be leading the entire world, not just Israel.
Yes. So, that makes me wonder, is this at the end of the millennium or the beginning? And according, yes.
I don't... Yes. We learned that this weekend at the Revive conference.
Yes.
It can be both.
Which
so,
we knew that, but we just loved it because the answer is always yes. We're like, yeah, that's exactly it. Yes.
That's right. Can it be this or is it this? Yes. And going into 7, it says, "And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples, as dew from Yahweh, as showers on the grass, which do not wait for man, nor delay for the sons of men." Then you move into 8, and it says, "And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the nations." So at first he says they'll be among many people. Then he says they'll be among the nations. To me, that is the first and the second coming. Because the first coming, the northern kingdom was among many peoples.
Right.
You know, and then his second coming, the entire remnant of Israel, all of us, Jews, Gentiles together who are coming into Israel, will be all over, or should I say the southern and the northern kingdom are scattered all over into all the nations. And I had a big aha moment, okay? I was like, the southern kingdom, and I hope I can say this as well as it came into my brain. The southern kingdom had to be spread among all of the nations because because the northern kingdom is among all the nations. It's almost like the Lord knew the only thing the northern kingdom was going to really take hold of was Messiah. But the southern kingdom has the word. They're the same, but they don't have the other part of the puzzle. You can't separate the word and the word made flesh. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
But the southern kingdom doesn't have the Messiah.
Right.
That in part of the word.
Made flesh.
The word made flesh. Right. So now
So
you
this-
have them scattered everywhere because it says right here, because they're scattered all over, then the young lions will be able to rise.
Got you.
When that unveiling happens.
When the spirit and truth
Come
come
together.
together.
Yes. Yes.
What? Guys.
So it's like the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom are partly blinded, but right now, we start to see those scales coming off. And when those scales are removed and we get enough to know that we're one
Right.
in Messiah, we are going to be what 8 talks about and what
That would be the Ephraim and the Judah stick coming together.
yes.
Just so we know, we know the northern kingdom really is done. It's never returning. It has to come through. But the Ephraim, Judah ideas
Right.
still
right.
work. Yeah.
Look what the rest of 8 says. And the remnant of Jacob, so everybody, shall be among the nations in the midst of many peoples, like a lion among the beasts of a forest, like a young lion among flocks of sheep, who if he passes through shall both tread down and shall fear, and there is no one to deliver. So just like this little town of Ephraim, this nothing little town, I'm not Ephraim, Bethlehem, this nothing little town, this village, it wasn't even this
Right.
big walled city. It was just
Right.
this little village. The Messiah came out. The remnant of Jacob is going to rise up and roar like a lion. And it's just going to tread among its enemies,
Yeah.
And I don't see it as being this big, powerful, great physical force. It's going to be a big, powerful spiritual force.
Yes.
It's what's going to
Which
bring
is-
the Messiah.
Why it's so easily missed.
Yes, that is why, because it's not this physical manifestation.
Right.
It's spiritual.
And of course, they work together. You said something about it not being even a walled city.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my gosh. So according to Torah, that's why that land will always belong to David's family.
Uh-huh.
Because only in a
Oh,
walled
yes.
city you can
you
sell
can
it
sell, and
permanently.
it wasn't.
Right.
Yes,
So,
and and that area of Bethlehem
Right.
was David's
Yeah.
and his family's. Yeah,
it'll never,
absolutely.
yeah, it'll always be Ruth and David and that family.
Yes.
You said, I was like, oh my gosh, how awesome.
Wow,
Never,
that is a good
ever
aha epiphany.
Go away.
I want to read through 11 through 15 real fast. I know it's
Okay.
long, but it's so good. It says, no, starting in 10. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahweh, that I shall cut off your horses out of your midst, and I shall destroy your chariots, and I shall cut off the cities of your land, and I shall pull down all the strongholds, and I shall cut off witchcrafts out of your hand, and let you have no magicians. And I shall cut off your carved images and your pillars from your midst, so that you no longer bow down to the work of your hands. And I shall pluck your Asherim out of your midst, and I shall destroy your cities, and I shall take vengeance in wrath and rage on the nations who did not obey. So I thought to myself, who is he talking to here?
Yeah.
Because he was just saying, I'm going to gather, you're going to be like lions, and you're going to stand up, and you're going to...
Right.
And then he's saying, and I'm going to do all of these things to you. So is he talking to his people or the nations? Yes. He's talking to both. Which side of the coin
That's
are you
what I was
going to be
thinking.
on?
I see the coin flipping and blink there.
Because let's say that you have no idea what kind of foods are healthy, but you want to
Okay.
get healthy.
Okay.
Okay? So a nutritionist comes into your house, and they open your pantry, and they start taking out your witchcraft. They start cutting down your
Twinkies.
taking out all these things, and you're like, I had no idea those
Right.
were those things. That's how I kind of see this.
Yes.
Look, you're going to rise up with the desire to please me. But in the process, I'm going to cut down your Ashtaroths. I'm going to take away the idolatry. I'm going to get the witches out, the witchcraft out from your midst. How many people How many people really, really, really love the Lord,
Right.
but they're following people who are teaching them witchcraft?
Right. They have no idea. I mean,
They
it
just
goes-
don't know.
It goes back to saying Lord, show us your truth.
That's right.
So the answer to that would be all
okay,
these
well,
things.
let me come in and cut all that stuff away from you.
I love that perspective of that positive perspective.
Yeah.
It can be done in a loving manner.
Right.
In answer to your prayer, which is what happened with us.
Because listen, when you go look at all the commentary on those passages, the sages and the rabbis are completely baffled as to who he's talking to. And as I was reading it, not to say I'm anybody, but as I was reading, I was
the
like,
Holy Spirit
wait
shows
a minute.
Things. Yeah.
It can be both. He's going to do it to the nations and to his people. However, his people will be refined, and the nations are going to be destroyed. But it's still the same process.
Oh my gosh, and so wouldn't it also be the response? So the nations get it taken from, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's all our power.
Right.
But Israel gets taken from, and they're like, oh, thank you for cleaning it up.
That's right.
Repentant is how you respond. One loses power because that's what they were invested in. One gains it because they're not invested in it. They're invested in the Lord.
It's the same thing Torah does to the person who is heart is towards the Lord and is not. To the person whose heart is towards the Lord, they're like, thank you for showing me this. Now I won't do these things and I will do these things.
Yes.
But the person who doesn't have their heart toward the Lord, it's like, are you kidding me? You want me to follow that?
Yeah.
So I can't do this and I can't do that?
Yeah.
Exactly. And now I have to do this and that?
Yeah.
It just becomes religion. Picking up in 6:3, we see him say this, my people, what have I done to you? And how have I wearied you? Answer me. So he's wanting to know, what in the world is causing you to have such a negative feeling toward me, or a negative outlook toward me, or what you're doing so negative? You know,
I hear Moses in that.
Do what?
I hear Moses in that.
Yes, well, look what he says. He says, my people, okay. So in 4, he says, for I have brought you from the land of Egypt, and I ransomed you from the house of bondage, and I sent Moses, Aaron, and Miriam before you. You know what I love about that? So, what?
Go ahead. I just like, oh, it's the boat, the helicopter, or whatever it is, the 3.
Yes, he says, because of Moses, I gave manna.
Okay.
Because of Aaron, I gave the cloud of glory. And because of Miriam, I gave water.
Yeah.
You know, because when Moses died, the manna stopped.
Right.
When Aaron died, the cloud of glory disappeared. And when, it didn't disappear, but it says they wearied. It says they wearied. So the assumption is that the cloud of glory was not as protective as it was.
Well, actually, right after he dies is when the people now don't go to Moses. They go directly to the Lord and say, let us go win a battle. So it does change a little bit in the way they're interacting. So that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
To say that.
And then when Miriam died, they didn't have water.
Right.
All right, so you have those things, and they're all types and shadows of Messiah, and I loved this. Listen, so the manna we see in John 6:32 and 41, he says, I'm the true bread that came from heaven. So he's fulfilling the Moses part of that, the manna. And a priest, because of Matthew 24:30, it says, coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. That's that, Shekinah. And you know what I did? I just went, oh, okay, so the Jews who don't believe in Messiah are looking for the third temple and the return of the Shekinah.
Right.
So wouldn't that be the testimony of who Yeshua is? Because that's what's bringing him.
Yes. What?
He comes in that cloud of glory.
And you can't deny him.
Right. Now they really will look upon him and go, oh, it was you.
And we did pierce you.
Yes, because the Shekinah glory is actually bringing him.
Right.
Anyway, I got really excited.
It took him out.
It took him out. Yeah, so it was a testimony.
He says
it was a testimony.
Exactly how he left is how he'll come. It has to be, because that's what's going to verify. I like it a lot.
I know. I was like, ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. So the water, the Miriam aspect, the living water, John 7:37. If anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink. And then in 1 Corinthians 10:4, we have the disciples who adhered to this midrash, because we have Paul saying all drank the same spiritual drink, for they were drinking from the spiritual rock which followed them. Rock was Messiah. The rock was Messiah. So I love that. I just love all of it. This whole Torah portion, I'm just like, oh, that's so good. Okay, but we still have a few more things to talk about. Let's see. Oh, if you go to 5, this is why
6:5.
6:5.
Okay.
6:5 is why it was hooked with this Torah portion.
Okay.
And it says, "My people, remember, please, what Balak, sovereign of Moab, counseled, and what Balaam, son of Beor, answered him from Shittim to Gilgal, in order to know the righteous of Yahweh. With what shall I come before Yahweh, bow myself before the high Elohim? Shall I come before him with ascending offerings, with calves a year old?" Isn't that what Balaam did? He tried to appease the Lord with sacrifices. Like, oh yeah, that God likes this.
Yeah.
He likes
That's
the
what Balak
sacrifices.
did. Right, Balak.
Oh, but yeah, that's what he likes. So I'm going to try and appease him with these so I can get the curse.
Right.
So he'll help me, But he's saying that's not what I desire. Then he goes on, "This is what I desire. He has declared to you, O man, what is good. And what does Yahweh require of you but to do right and to love loving commitment and to walk humbly with your Elohim." And so before we get all, oh yeah, I do all that and know what we do, let's go to Deuteronomy 10, 12 through 13 and find out what exactly that means. Deuteronomy 10, 12 through 13 says, "And now Israel, what is Yahweh your Elohim asking of you but to fear Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in all his ways and to love him, and to serve Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, to guard the commands of Yahweh and his laws, which I command you today for your good." I would say that's why the Church of Philadelphia is commended and gets to be the bride, or gets to be protected through what's coming, because they're doing that.
Right.
They are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing in these last days. So I will end on that. We can chew on a bunch of that manna from the word.
Too bad I didn't have this on Monday, so I chew all week.
Oh, I know, right? All right, well, we thank you so much for joining us and spending time with us on this lovely, beautiful day that we're having here in Southwest Louisiana. And we will see you next week with episode 103.
Woo.
All right. Have a fantastic week.
Shalom.